Whoa. So we're being lied to when they told us it's the hard work, putting so much effort, work like you're about to die. And these few days I've just gotten to understand that hard work it's not really what makes you a multi-millionaire or billionaire. It's basically leverage, having to keep systems, in place. Um I made over 120K this previous month. And I did all that without basically doing much. I already have my bots, running. I have a working system. So I practically do not have to do much, made 120K plus. I go into betting. You've seen my videos on sports betting. People go into sports betting and they'll come back bankrupt. I go into sports betting and I come out with, profit and money. It's not like I'm really very smart. It's not like I'm really very special. You can do it as well. The only reason why I'm able to make more is because I've learned the act of focusing so much on something, getting good at it, and then I start making subsequent earnings from it. And then the moment I'm making consistent earnings from it, the two things I do. If it's computer related, I automate it. If it's a business related stuff like something that's to do with like realistically in real life, I would delegate it, teach someone and make a franchisee business out of it. I think reading books, financial books, has been of very great help because it opens my mind to the concept of what no one is talking about. Practically everyone feels, in order for you to be wealthy, you have to put in a whole lot of effort, which is not true. In order for you to be wealthy, you just have to know so well on how to leverage and delegate these two things, delegate and leverage and delegate, however you want to position them. It simply means you need to know how to be able to have a working or a running system. When you look at McDonald's, for instance, um, imagine um, McDonald's first, you know, his recipes. Let's assume he started up with chicken wings, right? And they had one of the best chicken wings. That was his recipe. Now imagine he had one, food outlet, and he was positioned somewhere in the US. He decided not to share his, recipe with anyone. And, he would just, make his chicken, wings and fries and all that thing. Do you think he would have ever built himself into a billion or a billion empire? No, because then he's limited to what he could supply, and his demand will be quite little because he might just be able to only sell, within the vicinity of where he's located. So delegation comes in when he now, employed more people, taught more people this recipe, built his business into a franchise. Those people he taught, started using his recipe, pay him royalty for it, obviously, with an agreement, and more franchise, which is more stores registering under McDonald's using the same recipe. Now he doesn't have to actually work anymore. Only the royalties now are so much like so far greater than what he would have ever been able to make if he had done those things himself. So building wealth, it's just basically how you delegate and how good you are to make leverage. And then the third one I learned of lately, it's how to control your demand. So I was reading this very funny book, and then got me thinking. I went to YouTube and I was trying to make some research around Aliko Dangote, and I started seeing some very wide documentaries. People who would tag Aliko Dangote as one wicked villain entrepreneur, how he influences the government to past certain bills that would favor him alone and all that. And why I could help but agree with most of the facts that they, stated with proofs. I really got to understand basically the real obsession of the real billionaires. See, in the real world of the 1% of the 1%, they don't really think the way the rest of us think. And it's something I'm beginning to learn. I think I'm getting to learn that subconsciously. Maybe from reading and trying to um get there as well, because that's practically my obsession to be a billionaire. Okay. So the 1% of the 1%, the wealthy, they think production and distribution. Their obsession is usually how they can expand their production. They can have a bigger warehouse. They can have a bigger factory. Or they get to make 20,000, 20,000, what's it called again? Products or units in a day. How do they expand to 50,000? How do they increase their demand? The kind of demand they're getting right now is no longer okay for them. They want to have bigger machines, or they have bigger machines right now. They took a loan from the bank. How do they even pay back for these machines? The supply they're getting from this region is low. How do they, go and supply this their products to other countries, other states? How do they build a bigger distribution? How do they reach out to marketing and distributing companies? These are the only things a real 1% of the 1% thinks. Now, if he's thinking of services, how do I make my service more accessible, reachable, make things more easy? Imagine having 1 billion people subscribe to my streaming service, paying $10 monthly. That would be 10 billion, monthly. Now, these are the kind of dreams the founders of Netflix and other streaming apps will have. So you see, every one of them thinks production of product or services and majorly distribution, or how to increase distribution and influence the demand in a positive way of their products. So this simply means they're ready to go as far as play by the books of the government, try to influence the government, try to influence the media, run publicity, virtually do everything they can do so they can improve, their production and distribution, level. Now, these are the 1% of the 1%, the wealthy, the ultra wealthy. The middle class practically are the ones who use that word to work hard. You know, the wealthy works with leverage. I'm good. You will never see a real wealthy say work hard. I'm being honest with you. Except they're probably in an interview where they want to be motivational. Because the real wealthy, they don't really get to work hard. What do you mean by work hard? You have a factory, right? Aliko Dangote has a factory. In his factory, there's somebody who comes in that carries chemicals from morning till night. Before that person closes for the day. This person carries all kinds of chemical. The people who carry the finished product of the cement, these people they work silly. They practically drain themselves every day. Most of them don't even have strength. They don't have stamina anymore because they've been working on the factory all day. Now, would you compare that kind of hard work to Dangote's hard work when he says work hard? So you not really get to understand that it's not like he works hard in a way too, because it takes quite mental strength to manage these businesses and all that. But basically, what I'm trying to say in a nutshell is leverage. Leverage is simply leverage and delegation. Delegating people who do the work at the factory, delegating working more with, franchise can also be replaced with partnership. The real ultra wealthy, they don't even like executing deals themselves. They like leverage and partnership. Somebody will have 1 billion and he can execute a project of the billion, but he rather looks for other billionaires he would bring into it, while a poor middle class goes all in. So there are like lots of things within the very rich and the poor and the middle class and all that. So I've been giving it my whole, and I understood the concepts. The biggest one of them is the 1% of the 1% think about producing. The middle class thinks about working hard, showing off. When you work hard so much, you want to show off at the end of the day. It's more like that guy who has been working in the factory from morning, afternoon, night. He's working in the factory. Now, when he's done with work at the end of the day and they pay him whatever they pay him if it's a daily job. I think most of them they do daily jobs because those people work at the factory, they can't work for monthly salary. So it's usually when they work, they pay them for the day because who don't work Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday? Don't you get strength to work for Thursday, Friday. If you go on bed rest. So now, the moment the person gets their pay, I think the first thing to do is to buy one big orobo or buy one big bread and go up the orobo and chop the bread with passion. You see how they want to give themselves a treat. So in their mind, that orobo and that big bread is a treat. It's them telling themselves you need to be pampered. So that's their own concept, right? And anybody who really makes money from hard work, it's always trying to spoil themselves after working so hard. You want to give yourself a treat. But the ultra wealthy, because they are giving themselves a treat every day, they don't really make stupid. They don't really even have any strength to start. The treats. The way we do the treat is we give ourselves treats, and we often want to give ourselves treat most times, and most times we give ourselves treats to prove a point, right? Like, okay, you make so much money, you now give yourself a treat by buying a car for yourself after working like from January to December. And I want to buy a car that when everybody sees it, they will know that you've been putting up effort from Monday to December. From January to December. They'll be able to know you've been putting on effort. You want to show off. You want to get something that is loud. That is the hustle mentality. So they will not ask you, not say I'm working hard. So you want to give yourself that treat that shows off. And while reading, I learned that was a slave mentality. A slave mentality is a mentality where, as slaves, we want to show our shiny acquisition. Let me explain. Back in those days when we had black slave or slave trade, rather, I think blacks have always been the one being slave trade. So I could just use slave trade and you assume it's black already. So back in the days of slave trade, um, blacks were working obviously for the whites, and we were basically naked most of the time. You know how they work in very harsh and uncomfortable positions and all that. So virtually every black feels they're equal. Whether you're big, small, you're all a slave, you'll be flogged, you'll be pushed around, you'll be told to do jobs, everybody have to do it. There is no respect. We don't even have a community, a society, a nation or anything. We're all bunch of slaves, so everybody was equal. And the only thing that differentiates a slave from another slave, it's things like material things. So let's say I've been a very good slave to my white master and he gives me like a gift. Now that gift would be memorable. It would be something of pride for me. So I take that bangle or that bracelet that my white master gave me as a slave, and while I'm with other black slaves, everybody's like, wow, wow, this bangle is so very beautiful. And everybody's trying to see this fine bangle that my white master gave to me. And then I'll be so proud of it. So I'm no longer equal with everyone. And I have something that other black slaves who are naked like me don't have, which is that bracelet. So if another white master from somewhere else sees me having a bracelet, he's gonna be like, "Oh, you stole this. Oh, you did not steal. Oh, your master gave it to you. Oh, that means you must be a good slave. You must have worked really hard before your white master gave you this, bracelet. So then again, you are a hardworking slave." And so I'm so proud of my bracelets. My fellow blacks are respecting me that I work so hard. My white master is giving me a bracelet. Other white masters are also respecting me that I'm a good slave and I've been working hard. And so I would not have to work even harder to please my white master. Not because I actually want to please my white master, like I mean, it's an oppressor, but I'm doing it so I can have another gift that will give me some form of importance, when next I'm with my fellow Negroes. So now it's now do whatever you can do to get the bag, get things that will make other black, worship you. So you feel some level of importance. We're no longer in the slave era, but the term mental slavery is actually a real one. Because when you see the 1% of the 1%, they are like white masters, whether they are black or not. Every single 1% of the 1% is a producer. They have people working for them. And if you're very much observant, you notice they're not trying to show off. The white master doesn't brag about having jewelry. It's the black slaves that brag about it among themselves. The white master is just so focused on having so many acres of land, buying as much slaves as possible, letting them work on his factory to produce more so he can buy more slave and expand more factory and buy more slave and have more slave distributes. Now you can see the production and distribution. That is the mindset of the white master. So he thinks expansion. Why the black man thinks oppression. So to him now is, oh, work hard within this job this white master has given me so I can earn so much, coins or whatever they award me so I can take my fellow black man's wife, because she's actually going to be with me because I have more and I get more benefit than whoever she's with. Now, all those things has actually evolved into today's society where basically every single person has materialistic targets. You ask everyone what you want right now, and you hear things like low gravitational targets, stuff like, oh, I want to get a new car before the year ends. I want to finish building up this property. Okay, property, it's a nice shit anyway. But I want to get this, I want to acquire this, I want to look this, I want to do this. You rarely see people tell you, long life or long lasting or long effective plans they have for the year. You rarely see someone say, well, I want to buy a particular machine that if I put in my fashion business I'll be able to do embroidering, I'll be able to do weaving, I'll be able to. You rarely see people think of how to expand production, and that is why anybody who thinks about production and leverage and delegation, I'm in love with you already. I'm he was in love with you because that is the mindset of the 1% of the 1%. So you might not really have money, but you have that mindset, and I have little money. So I think I can help make that your mindset game because I'm more sure that that mindset alone is what practically you need to be a billionaire. The second one, or the second and third, is networking and knowledge. So if I look back right now, I will tell you the major reason I'm not yet a billionaire was because I didn't have certain knowledge about business. Like I've been reading lately about business and it got me discovering how wrong I've been. Like I made $120,000 plus this past months. That is convert that to naira, you should know what it is like, right? So I made close to 100 million naira just in a month, close to 100 million naira. And that's how I gave you the whole story of the slave mentality. Because I know I used to be there before. You make like 50 million naira, 30 million naira, you want pose, you want club, you want shutdown club, make everybody eye your name. One more. Dangote makes billions of naira. He doesn't make a fuse. His major purchases are projects. He's building a refinery. Zuckerberg, have you ever seen Zuckerberg buy anything from Icebox? Have you had Mark Zuckerberg of Facebook, bought a Rolls Royce or a Lamborghini? But he bought WhatsApp for $60 billion. These are people I look up to. So are you expecting me to make $120,000? And you want me when these ones are change is what they make like. Do you know how much Zuckerberg makes in a day? Close your eyes and open it. Let's count. One, two, three, four, five. I can tell you if you go check Zuckerberg's net worth, he must have increased like 100K just within the seconds I close my eyes. These are the people I look up to. They don't have slave mentality. They think expansion. So talking about expansion for the year 2023, I want to give full expansion to my oil and gas business, which is the OKEK NHS. I want to be the number one distributor for refillable gas and refillable, natural gas products. Your petrol, your diesel. I want to create a business model where with your mobile phone you can order for gas. The model is already on, But I want a business model where I will have the monopoly. The way Dangote now is the head in the whole of Africa, he supplies virtually all the cement. I want to be the guy that in the next 3 years, anything that has to do with, if they're making any strong bill regarding distribution of natural gas, I want to be part of the people that would say, please, Mr. Daniel, we want you on board. You're one of the distributors of refillable cocaine gas and, a major home distributor, retail distributor of petrol services. We want you here because this bill is going to affect you. How can you influence the government? I want to be part of those people who influence the government. So it won't happen when I get any little money and I want to not show off. I want to not live for the gram. Nah. The dream is to be a billionaire. I said before 35, I'm 30 already. I have just 5 years to do that. Are you expecting me to goof up for the last 5 years? No. It's gonna be fun if I get to that billionaire status even before that. Mm. Daniel, you'll be chuku. I wanna be so close to Dangote on the scale on the chart. It's possible. Do you know Dangote? Dangote is worth $14 billion. Do you know if you're making, let's calculate something. I like making these calculations because it shows me how dumb it is to say hard work makes you rich. That's the biggest, lie they've told slaves. They've told the masses, the 1%, I'm still gonna tell people work hard when they do. So that's what they want you to believe is work hard so you can work hard for them. How many of those top chairmans and CEOs stresses themselves? Those big mansions. I mean, we'll talk about that later. So if you make $1 million in a day, this is 1 million. If you make $1 million in a day, okay, it will take you 1,000 days to make a billion. Yeah, it's gonna take you 1,000 days to make a billion. So 1,000 days divided by 365, that's 2.7. So it's gonna take you like 2 years plus. That's if you're making 1,000 $1 million in a day. I mean, who makes $1 million in a day? Okay, maybe when I get to start producing heavily, chill first. If you're a normal person, right? Probably you in a salary. Okay, let's just say you okay. How do I how I'm thinking of the best example to use. Should I use a businessman example? Should I use a salary earner? Because we're being told to work hard. When you work hard at the office, the maximum you get is promotion. When you work hard at the factory, you'll probably be able to finish up your tax for the day and maybe starting another tax. If I'm in a construction company and I'm working at the construction sites or I'm in a factory, helping to produce more units, or I'm at an office and I get to work every single day, let's assume the maximum I'll be able to make in a month, it has never been. If you have seen, please let me know. But I don't think anybody makes 100K monthly. So if I'm making $100,000 monthly, right? It's okay. What will it take? $1 billion. I want to check a billion. I have to turn my phone. When you start having rare ass numbers, you have to turn your phone. Okay, if I'm making a billion, if I'm what $1 billion, okay, you know what? What will it take someone who makes 100K monthly to make a billion? So this is a billion divided by 100K. It's gonna take the person 10,000. That means 10,000 months. So 10,000 months. 10,000 months. Each month, okay, 10,000 months. 12 months make a year, so 10,000 months divided by 12 months, 833 years. 10,000 months is 833 days. 0.3333. It's going to take you almost 1,000 years to be able to make $1 billion. Almost 1,000 years. How many generations you will live and your children will live and your children will live before you make 1 billion? Now Dangote is what 14 billion times 14. It's gonna take you 11,000 years. So you're going to so you're going to live for 11,000 years before you make as much as what Dangote makes. Or sorry, before you make Dangote's net worth, it's gonna take 11,000 years. So what do you say about hard work, Kiki? Okay, it's leverage, it's delegation, it's getting a big network, and it's having to get good partnership. If I become the number one distributor, I don't know if that would actually. I'm not competing with Dangote. It's even silly saying it. It's just me working on myself and producing what people need because I think that's the biggest concept of entrepreneurship. But a real entrepreneur, a real 1% of the 1% mentality thinks, okay, I've discovered the solution. So how do I provide the solution to more people? In other words, how do I produce more of the solution or product or service, and how do I distribute it to even further people? That is how you get money because the population is always increasing. So that simply means you can always tap into as many people as possible, which is your demand. You can influence your demand if let's say I'm producing a service and my service is what, let's assume I have a service right now, people, okay, let's assume for every single delivery or for every single product, my company delivers, I make a profit of 100 naira, right? And let's imagine I start making as much as 1 million worth of deliveries, um weekly. So let's say I become the number one in the whole of Nigeria. Nobody buys fuel again at the filling station. Everybody orders from the app. They have another jerry can. They just like a dispenser. The way you get to go to the supermarket, you drop your old dispenser. Someone picks up a new dispenser. Fill it with water. Now that's the business model of Okek Energy. So let's say the whole of Nigeria, everybody buys for diesel, cooking gas through me, and I'm making like 100 naira per. I mean, an average or the lowest minimal of 100 naira per delivery, and I'm doing a volume of 1 million deliveries in a week. That is giving me like a net profit of 100 million naira in a month, 400 million naira. Do that in a year, 4 point something billion. Now you see so you can actually make close to 500 million in a month. Yes. Now what happens when I try to keep influencing my demand? Maybe go out of Nigeria, become the number one in Kenya, become in Ghana. Let's assume just like Dangote, I become the number one distributor, retail distributor of natural, gas, cooking gas, and number one distributor, of petrol related services or natural gas services, the whole of Africa. And let's say I start doing up to 10 million deliveries in the whole of Africa. Now you see from making 100 naira times 10 million. Now we're not making like a billion a day, right? Okay, we're making like a billion a day. Sorry, a billion a week, 4 billion a month. Now you're not getting the concepts. Now that is how you become a billionaire. It's not by working hard. It's by, okay, what will it take me now to launch? I won't use the word struggling, but I'm trying to gather up enough money. I want to be able to make more awareness, push more awareness for my app. Let it get the awareness it needs. I still have so many other business models, startup I have in progress. Now, how do I push every single one of them? And how do I now start influencing the demand so people can start patronizing them? Influencing it by advertisements, by doing giveaways, by hosting concepts, that competitions, challenges that would help create awareness for the product. How do I get people tied in into using the products? How do I become so good? Give customers satisfaction they won't have to go somewhere else, make them loyal to me. And then how do I increase this demand up to an extent where I'm making billions of naira and someday dollars annually? It's basically by networking. If I get to meet the right people, I get to learn the right things I need to learn. I get to rub the right fingers, sign the right deals, get the right staffs that will be able to help me manage, different departments. Because one thing that also kills business is when you delegate to the wrong people. That is the worst thing that can happen to you. Your business is going to be as good as dead. Ah. 30 minutes. Can this fly on Instagram? I doubt. I'm not making a video as long as this again. I don't know why I even made this video too long. I'm practically having a gist. Okay, so I'm sorry the video was so long. Yeah. So see you next time. Let me stop it now.